Hello, it is February 11th, 2022. This is As the World Burns. I'm your host, Randall Burns. Today's topic is the luck factor by Richard Wiseman. The luck factor is a rarity among popular books on psychology and self-improvement and business motivational studies. It is actually written by an experimental psychologist and is rooted heavily in experiments by the man that did many of them. Richard Wiseman is a former stage magician turned academic psychologist. And one of the things that he mentions in his autobiographical stories is that being a stage musician taught him a lot about human psychology. And he's applied that in his academic career. His basic premise is that relaxed, outgoing people are more likely to see good fortune when it comes their way. And he ties the emerging science of personality into those results and describes the actual personality traits that are associated with being lucky. And I think that Wiseman's mechanisms describe some of the important factors in what makes the methods described in the science of getting rich work for many people. I mean, he goes actually into real mechanisms, and it's backed by experiment. That was not something that Wallace Wattles had the resources or the education to do at the time. The science of experimental psychology was still emerging at that point. But so if you read The Science of Getting Rich and then you read The Luck Factor, you're going to see some real overlap in the mechanisms. Okay. Wiseman also outlines a series of exercises and practices aimed at improving luck. My favorite experiment that he described there was he had a situation where they would have people walk down a determined path, and somewhere on the path, unbeknownst to the subject, there would be a bill. So, I think they said a 20-pound bill, which is about $25 in US money. And he tracked who the people were that noticed it and who the people were that didn't. And it turns out the people who were positive thinkers were much more and who were less superstitious were more likely to see it when it came their way. Now, this I think is actually a pretty important result and has applicability to a lot of people. I mean, not just finding cash, but noticing serendipity or good fortune when it comes your way. And that's part of the thing that Wiseman is trying to make happen for people. The luck factor also underscores that those that take preparations that make you personally able to stay relaxed in difficult situations, that really can pay off. It's just a matter of knowing yourself, knowing what you need for security, and adjusting accordingly. Now, he also describes a lot of people who found good luck in difficult circumstances. Wiseman is an advocate of what are now fairly mainstream relaxation methods. And he regards the relaxation as being an important factor in recognizing luck when it happens, and not being too fatalistic about what is going to happen, or too obsessed with a particular result, or too focused on a particular result. I think that this work could be augmented by looking more at longer term outcomes and focus more on the financial aspect of success, and also on longer term results in personal relationships. And that's just work to be done. It's not a criticism of what Wiseman did. He did what he could with the resources he had. But I think there's a lot more to be done in this area. Wiseman also indicates that lucky people tend to learn from their mistakes. That augments what we have in super forecasting, where what they found was the people that had the most demonstrable predictive ability tended to do a lot of practice and learn from their mistakes. And that's an important factor going forward with this, okay? I mean, it's part of my own daily ritual. I'm on Metaculus. Every day I get emails from Metaculus telling me either I got it right or got it wrong. And I found that has improved my attitude on a lot of things. And it also made me a lot more humble about the common sense that you see at Metaculus. And this is something that precognition and luck both have in common. You know, they're both factors that can be exercised to improve them. And that's, you know, something that I think needs to get into the business literature in general. Wiseman also indicates that superstitious people are more likely to have bad luck. This is an important message, and it has to do a lot with a lot that's in contemporary culture. Okay, that, you know, we have entire movements that are built around people that do not learn from their mistakes, do not acknowledge their mistakes, and this is I think, a very dangerous cultural trend. And we need to become more aware. You know, these are actually traits associated with narcissists, and I think that we need to be much more aware about narcissists in public life. But that is outside of this. The implicit within this is that those that appreciate their luck get more of it, which is actually reinforced in the message of the psychology of money. Bill Gates was an example given there as an example of somebody who acknowledged the role that luck played in his incredible success. And I think that is a underlying message here that needs to be underscored and expanded upon. I think books like this are moving into some basic business methods. They're taking it beyond superstition and traditionalism into something that's more scientifically grounded. And I see this as a very positive movement in the literature in general. I mean, right now the literature is still a little bit sparse, but I think that down the road this could be considerably expanded. And I think that we may be looking at something for general business planning and motivational studies as serious as what Ben Graham did with The Intelligent Investor. And that, you know, I think that had ramifications for tightening up the investment community and money management in a lot of businesses. And this can expand us into other areas. You know, I think that we in the US may be heading towards some trying times. I'll expand upon that in some future videos on why I say that. And the thing is that no matter how difficult it gets, you know, one doesn't have to be perfect to survive and to get through it. It's kind of like gazelles in a herd. The predators pick off the weak ones, and the gazelle just needs to make sure that they're not in the bottom 5% to be pretty safe. And the same thing with preparedness. You don't need to go hog wild. You just have to be a little better than the people around you. And no, I've known someone fairly well who suffered something far greater than I expect is coming at us. That was one of my favorite professors at the University of Chicago, Arcadius Kahan. And Professor Kahan had fought rather heroically in a resistance unit during World War II, in what was at the time regarded by the Germans, by the Nazis, as part of Germany. And he managed to evade the Gestapo on their home turf, which is no small feat. At the end of World War II, he was deemed politically unreliable despite being a bona fide war hero, and was sent to a re-education camp. And he was tortured there incredibly and suffered as much as anyone I can imagine. And I think part of the lesson here, and it's connected to the luck factor, is one, he didn't let this stop him from becoming a rather noted academic. He was one of the leading economic historians of the 20th century. And when he talked about his re-education camp experiences, he actually found something positive to focus on, which was the respect the guards treated him with. In his words, the guards knew I wasn't a criminal. They knew I was there because of my beliefs. And they treated me with real respect. And that's, what he focused on. He didn't hide the torture and what the KGB was doing to him. He didn't hide that. But he focused on the positive parts and the aftermath. And I think that illustrates some of the wisdom of the luck factor, and it underscores it. And I do hope that some of you read the series of books that I'm outlining here. I'm going to try to get more into it with respect to trading strategies and back to the main focus of the channel, forecasting. But this will give you some underlying information on this. And I think it's actually important to not be fatalistic and to be able to look on the bright side even when difficult situations are coming at us. And again, in the luck factor, like he illustrates people, like one man called going to prison one of the luckiest things that ever happened to him, because he was heading down a bad path and some of his associates wound up either dead or permanently disabled. And so he was able to see that as a lucky break. And again, that's part of the wisdom of this book. So this is Randall Burns signing off. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you for joining me. And I'm trying to make videos more often now. Elon Musk has come to my rescue. I now have Starlink, which is the fastest internet connection I've ever had out here in the wilderness. And I'm trying to do more videos more often. Part of what you're seeing now is the backlog of stuff that I've had ready to prepare, stuff that I've been working on for a while. And I'm just trying to get some of that out there and move on to other stuff and to provide a sound foundation for doing more hard forecasting down the road. Take care. See you again soon. Bye.